Charlemagne, also known as Charles the Great, was one of the most significant rulers in European history, whose life and reign left a profound impact on the political, cultural, and religious landscape of the early Middle Ages. Born around 747 AD, he was the son of Pepin the Short, the first king of the Carolingian dynasty, and Bertrada of Laon, and he inherited a kingdom already positioned at the forefront of Frankish power. From the beginning, Charlemagne demonstrated remarkable military prowess and political acumen, qualities that allowed him to expand and consolidate his realm to an extent unmatched by his predecessors. Upon the death of his father in 768, he initially co-ruled with his brother Carloman, but after Carloman's sudden death in 771, Charlemagne became the sole ruler of the Frankish kingdom, a position that enabled him to implement his vision of unifying and strengthening Western Europe. His military campaigns were numerous and ambitious, ranging from the Saxon Wars in the northeast, which sought to convert the Saxons to Christianity through a combination of force and diplomacy, to campaigns in Lombardy in northern Italy, where he intervened in local power struggles and solidified Frankish influence over the region. Charlemagne's expansionist policies were not merely motivated by territorial ambition. They were closely linked to his desire to promote Christianity as a unifying cultural and moral force, aligning the spiritual authority of the Church with his political power. He collaborated closely with the papacy, providing military support and protection, and in return, he received the symbolic legitimacy of religious endorsement, culminating in his coronation as Emperor of the Romans by Pope Leo III on Christmas Day in 800. This event was more than a ceremonial honor. It represented the revival of the idea of a Western Roman Empire and established the precedent for the Holy Roman Empire, intertwining secular and spiritual authority in a way that would shape European politics for centuries. Charlemagne's administration reflected his innovative approach to governance and his understanding of the challenges posed by ruling an extensive and diverse territory. He relied on a network of local officials called counts, who managed regions on his behalf, and regularly sent royal agents known as missi dominici to supervise the counts, ensure justice, and maintain loyalty to the central authority. This system allowed for more effective oversight and helped to maintain stability across the vast Carolingian Empire. Equally significant was Charlemagne's commitment to intellectual and cultural renewal, a movement often referred to as the Carolingian Renaissance. Recognizing that the administration of a sophisticated empire required educated clergy and officials, he promoted the establishment of schools, the preservation and copying of classical texts, and the standardization of Latin, which facilitated communication and record-keeping across his territories. Scholars such as Alcuin of York were brought to his court to advise on educational reforms, liturgical practices, and the organization of monastic and cathedral schools. Through these efforts, Charlemagne not only strengthened the intellectual foundation of his empire, but also laid the groundwork for a broader revival of learning that would influence Europe long after his death. Despite his numerous achievements, Charlemagne faced challenges inherent in ruling a vast and culturally diverse realm. His conquests brought him into contact with various peoples, including Saxons, Avars, Lombards, and Muslim forces in Spain, requiring a combination of military skill, diplomatic negotiation, and religious authority to manage effectively. Furthermore, the decentralized nature of medieval power and the personal loyalties of his vassals meant that maintaining cohesion demanded constant attention, careful appointments, and the use of both incentives and sanctions. Charlemagne's personal life also reflected the complex interplay of family, politics and succession that characterized his era. He married several times, most notably to Hildegard of Windsgau, with whom he had several children who would later play roles in the governance and division of his empire. Upon his death in 814, Charlemagne was succeeded by his son, Louis the Pious, whose reign would reveal both the strengths and vulnerabilities of the structures Charlemagne had put in place, as internal divisions and external pressures gradually tested the unity of the empire. Charlemagne's legacy, however, transcended the immediate political outcomes of his reign. He became a symbol of the fusion of Roman, Christian, and Germanic traditions, embodying the ideals of rulership, piety, and cultural revival that would influence medieval kingship. Historians have long debated the extent to which his empire represented a genuine continuation of the Roman tradition versus a new synthesis of European elements, but there is little doubt that his reign marked a turning point in the development of medieval Europe. Through his promotion of learning, administrative innovation, and unification under the banner of Christianity, Charlemagne helped shape the social, cultural, and political foundations that would endure for centuries. Artistic and architectural achievements also flourished under his patronage, with the construction of palaces, churches, and monastic centers that reflected a distinctive Carolingian style, merging classical influences with contemporary needs. Charlemagne's court at Aachen became a vibrant center of cultural activity, attracting scholars, artists, and clerics, and serving as a model of royal patronage and intellectual ambition. In summation, Charlemagne's life and reign were characterized by an extraordinary combination of military leadership, political innovation, cultural patronage, and religious commitment. He transformed the Frankish kingdom into a powerful empire that exerted influence across Western Europe, established new standards for governance and education, and left a lasting imprint on the medieval world. His vision of a unified Christian Europe under strong and enlightened leadership resonated far beyond his lifetime, inspiring subsequent rulers and shaping historical narratives for generations. Through both his achievements and the enduring structures he put in place, Charlemagne earned a place not only as a pivotal figure of the early Middle Ages, but also as a symbol of the possibilities of leadership, vision, and cultural revival, a legacy that continues to capture the imagination of scholars, historians, and the public alike. His name remains synonymous with the idea of empire and civilization, embodying the synthesis of military might, intellectual aspiration, and spiritual authority that defined an era and laid the foundations for the Europe that was to come. While his careful attention to justice, administration, and the promotion of ethical governance set a moral standard for rulers that persisted throughout medieval Christendom, making him not just a conqueror, but a thinker and reformer whose influence extended far beyond the battlefield into the very heart of European society and culture.